Hey Gemini, come sit with me because what I'm seeing in your cards right now is honestly making me pause and take a deep breath. You know that feeling when you've been waiting for something to shift and you can almost taste the change in the air? That's exactly the energy coming through for you right now. I just finished shuffling and the cards practically jumped out of the deck to tell your story. This reading is about when your destiny starts accelerating. And I need you to really hear what's coming through because the universe has been working behind the scenes in ways you might not even realize yet. Before we dive in, I want you to get comfortable. Maybe grab some water or tea. This is going to be a journey through your energy, and I'm seeing such powerful transformation themes here. The cards are showing me that you're standing at this incredible threshold moment, and honestly, it's beautiful and a little intense at the same time. So I pulled the first card, and it's the Queen of Wands. Gemini, let me tell you what this means for you right now. This card is coming through with such fierce, confident energy. The Queen of Wands represents someone who has learned to own their power completely, and she's showing up in your reading to tell you that this is your season of stepping into your full authority. You know how Geminis are often seen as the twins, constantly balancing different aspects of yourself? Well, the Queen of Wands is saying that integration time is here. You're not splitting your energy anymore between who you think you should be and who you actually are. This card represents a version of you that has done the inner work and is now ready to show up authentically in the world. What I find really interesting about the Queen of Wands appearing for you is that she's all about creative confidence and magnetic presence. For Gemini, this is huge because you're naturally communicative and social, but sometimes that gift can scatter your energy. The Queen of Wands is teaching you how to channel all that Gemini brilliance into focused, purposeful action. She's not just talking about ideas, she's manifesting them. She's not just dreaming, she's building. The universe is literally handing you the scepter right now and saying it's time to lead your own life with absolute certainty. I'm also seeing that this card relates to how others perceive your energy shifting. People around you are going to start noticing something different about you. There's this warmth and charisma that the Queen of Wands carries, but it's not performative. It's genuine soul fire. You might find that opportunities start coming to you rather than you having to chase them. This is because when you embody Queen of Wands energy, you become magnetic. Your destiny is accelerating because you're finally matching the frequency of what you've been calling in. The universe has been waiting for you to step into this version of yourself, and now that you're here, everything can start moving. There's also a message here about trusting your instincts more. The Queen of Wands is deeply intuitive, and as a Gemini who lives so much in the mental realm, this card is inviting you to drop down into your gut wisdom. What do you know to be true beyond what you can rationalize or explain? That knowing is your compass right now. Your destiny accelerates when you stop overthinking every decision and start trusting that inner fire that knows exactly where you need to go. This is powerful energy, and I'm seeing it's already activated within you. You might have felt it as restlessness lately, or as this urge to make bold moves. That's the Queen of Wands rising within you. All right, moving to the second card, and oh, this is interesting. We have the Three of Cups here. Gemini, this card is bringing such joyful, celebratory energy to your reading. After the Queen of Wands showed us your personal power, the Three of Cups is revealing how your destiny acceleration involves community and meaningful connections. This isn't just about you rising alone. This is about you rising with people who genuinely celebrate your success and growth. The Three of Cups traditionally represents friendship, collaboration, and coming together in joy. For your reading specifically, I'm seeing this as a sign that as your destiny accelerates, you're going to find your people. You know how sometimes in life you feel like you're speaking a language nobody else understands? That phase is ending for you. The universe is orchestrating connections with souls who get you, who match your energy, and who want to build something beautiful alongside you. This could manifest as new friendships that feel instantly familiar, or it could be existing relationships deepening in really meaningful ways. What makes this card especially significant for Gemini is that you're naturally social but can sometimes feel like you're performing or adapting to fit in. The Three of Cups is saying those days are over. The connections coming into your life now, or strengthening around you, are based on authentic resonance. You don't have to edit yourself or dim your light. These are people who love you for exactly who you are in all your multifaceted Gemini glory. There's something really healing about this energy because it's validating. It's the universe confirming that you belong, that you're valued, and that your gifts are needed. I'm also picking up that this card relates to creative collaborations or projects where you join forces with others. Your destiny isn't just accelerating in isolation. You're being called to co-create, to share ideas, to bounce energy off people who inspire you. For a Gemini who thrives on mental stimulation and exchange, this is like oxygen for your soul. The Three of Cups suggests that some of your biggest breakthroughs and most exciting opportunities will come through partnerships and group dynamics. Pay attention to invitations that come your way. Say yes to gatherings, even if part of you wants to stay home. The universe is using social connections as a delivery system for your blessings right now. There's also an element of celebration in this card that I don't want you to miss. Your destiny accelerating doesn't mean it's all serious and heavy. The Three of Cups is reminding you to enjoy the journey, to laugh, to find lightness even as you're doing deep transformative work. Joy is a high vibration, and when you allow yourself to feel genuinely happy and connected, you're actually speeding up your manifestations. So if you've been grinding really hard lately, this card is permission to pause and celebrate how far you've come. Acknowledge your wins with people who genuinely care. That energy of gratitude and joy is going to magnetize even more blessings toward you. Now let's see what the third card reveals. I'm pulling and it's the Nine of Swords. Okay, Gemini, stay with me here because this card might feel heavy at first, but there's actually a really important message for you. The Nine of Swords is often called the nightmare card or the anxiety card. It shows someone sitting up in bed, head in hands, overwhelmed by worried thoughts. And the reason this is showing up in your destiny acceleration reading is because the universe wants to address the mental patterns that have been holding you back. Here's what I'm seeing. Even though your destiny is accelerating and amazing things are lining up for you, there's a part of your mind that's still stuck in fear and worry. The Nine of Swords represents those 3 in the morning thoughts when you spiral into worst-case scenarios. It's the voice that tells you you're not ready, that you'll fail, that something will go wrong. For Gemini especially, this card highlights how your powerful mind can sometimes become your prison. You can think yourself into paralysis, analyzing every possible outcome until you're too scared to move forward. But here's why this card is actually a gift in your reading. The universe is bringing this to your conscious awareness so you can heal it. Your destiny cannot fully accelerate while you're holding yourself back with fearful thinking. The Nine of Swords is showing you where you need to do mental and emotional clearing work. What stories are you telling yourself about why you can't have what you want? What fears are running on repeat in the background of your mind? This card is an invitation to examine those patterns with compassion and then consciously choose different thoughts. I'm also seeing that the Nine of Swords connects to a specific fear about being seen or visible. As your Queen of Wands energy rises and opportunities increase, there might be anxiety about stepping into the spotlight. What if people judge you? What if you mess up publicly? What if success changes you or your relationships? These are the shadow fears that the Nine of Swords is illuminating. And the message from the universe is clear. These fears are not prophetic. They're just old programming that needs to be released. You're being called to witness these anxious thoughts without believing them or letting them drive your decisions. There's something else I'm picking up with this card. The Nine of Swords can also represent the ending of a difficult mental cycle. Notice that even though the figure in the card looks distressed, they're sitting up. They're awake. Sometimes our darkest mental moments happen right before dawn, right before a breakthrough. So if you've been going through a period of anxiety or mental struggle lately, this card is actually showing that you're at the tail end of it. Your destiny is accelerating partly because you're moving through and beyond these fearful patterns. Every time you choose faith over fear, trust over worry, you're literally clearing the path for your blessings to reach you faster. The Nine of Swords is also asking you to examine your relationship with rest and peace. Gemini energy can be so go, 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 so mentally active that you forget to give your nervous system a break. Part of your destiny acceleration involves learning how to be still, how to quiet the mental chatter, how to trust that everything is working out even when you're not actively problem-solving. This might mean developing a meditation practice, or simply learning to be present in the moment rather than constantly planning or worrying about the future. The paradox is that when you release the anxious grip on outcomes, things flow to you more easily. Let's move forward. The fourth card is the Four of Wands, and honestly, after the Nine of Swords, this feels like the universe giving you a huge exhale and a smile. The Four of Wands is one of the most positive cards in the deck. It represents celebration, stability, homecoming, and the creation of solid foundations. This card is coming through to tell you that all your hard work is about to pay off in tangible, celebratory ways. Your destiny acceleration isn't just an internal shift. You're going to see real-world results and milestones that you can point to and say, yes, my life is changing. The Four of Wands often appears when you're reaching a completion point of some kind. Maybe you've been working toward a goal and you're finally about to achieve it. Maybe you've been in transition and you're about to land in a place of stability. For Gemini, who can sometimes struggle with following through or staying committed to one path, this card is incredibly affirming. It's saying that your dedication is recognized and you're about to reap the rewards. This could manifest in your career, your relationships, your living situation, or your creative projects. Whatever area of life you've been investing energy into, the Four of Wands says success and celebration are imminent. What I love about this card for you is that it carries such warm, joyful energy. The traditional image shows people dancing under a canopy of flowers and wands, celebrating together. This connects beautifully to that Three of Cups energy we saw earlier. Your victories aren't solitary. You have people who are genuinely happy for you and want to celebrate with you. The Four of Wands can literally indicate parties, gatherings, or public acknowledgement of your accomplishments. Don't be surprised if you find yourself being celebrated or recognized in some way soon. And more importantly, let yourself receive that acknowledgement. You've earned it. There's also a message here about home and belonging. The Four of Wands can represent finally feeling like you've found where you belong, whether that's a physical place, a community, or within yourself. For Gemini, who can sometimes feel like a perpetual wanderer or outsider, this is profound. Your destiny accelerating includes this beautiful gift of feeling grounded and at home in your own life. You're building something real and lasting. The scattered energy is consolidating into something solid and beautiful. You're not just dreaming anymore. You're creating actual structure and stability around your visions. I'm also sensing that this card relates to partnerships and unions. The Four of Wands is sometimes called the wedding card, though it doesn't have to be literal marriage. It can represent any kind of sacred partnership or commitment that brings joy and stability to your life. If you're in a relationship, this could indicate moving to a new level of commitment. If you're single, it could suggest meeting someone who feels like home. In business contexts, it could mean a successful partnership or collaboration. The energy is about two or more forces coming together harmoniously to create something beautiful and enduring. The Four of Wands is also reminding you to pause and actually enjoy your success. Gemini energy can be so focused on the next thing that you forget to savor what you've already achieved. This card is the universe telling you to stop and smell the roses. Throw the party. Pop the champagne. Acknowledge how far you've come. That act of celebration and gratitude actually creates more momentum for your destiny to accelerate further. Success builds on success, and joy attracts more joy. Now for the fifth card. I'm pulling and we have the Ten of Swords. Okay, Gemini, I know this looks intense. The Ten of Swords is traditionally a card that makes people nervous because the imagery is stark. A figure lying face down with 10 swords in their back, often against a dark sky. But please hear me when I say this. In the context of your reading about destiny acceleration, this card is actually incredibly positive. Let me explain why. The Ten of Swords represents an ending. A complete, total, no-going-back ending. And endings, while they can feel painful, are absolutely necessary for new beginnings. Your destiny cannot accelerate while you're still clinging to what needs to die. The Ten of Swords is the universe's way of saying that a certain chapter, pattern, or way of being is completely over for you. And I mean over. There's no resurrection here. No going back. This is the death that precedes rebirth, and it's happening so that you have space for everything new that's trying to come in. For Gemini specifically, I'm seeing that the Ten of Swords relates to old mental patterns, belief systems, or ways of thinking that have kept you small. Remember that Nine of Swords we pulled earlier? This is the death of that anxious, fearful mental loop. The Ten of Swords says those thoughts and patterns have run their course. They've taught you what they needed to teach you, and now they're done. You're moving into a completely new mental paradigm. And while that transition might feel strange or even scary, it's absolutely necessary for where you're going. There's also a message here about betrayal or disappointment, but not in the way you might think. The Ten of Swords can indicate a moment when you finally stop betraying yourself. When you stop abandoning your own needs, your own truth, your own knowing. Your destiny is accelerating because you're finally choosing yourself fully. You're done compromising on things that matter. You're done dimming your light to make others comfortable. You're done playing small. That version of you is dead and gone and good riddance. The Ten of Swords is actually celebrating this ending even though it looks dark. I want you to notice something about the traditional imagery of this card. Even though there are 10 swords in the figure's back, The sky is often shown brightening on the horizon. That's the key message. The darkest hour is just before dawn. When the Ten of Swords appears, it means you've hit rock bottom in some area, which means the only direction available is up. You've survived the worst. You've made it through. And now you're free to rise into something completely new. Your destiny can finally accelerate because you're no longer weighed down by what needed to end. There's also an element of relief with the Ten of Swords. Sometimes we hold on to situations or patterns long past their expiration date because we're afraid of the void that will be left behind. But the Ten of Swords says the void is a gift. It's space. It's possibility. It's a clean slate. Yes, letting go completely can feel like a death, but on the other side of that death is resurrection. The universe is making room in your life for miracles, but first, you had to release what was taking up space. That's what this card represents. For your reading about destiny acceleration, the Ten of Swords is actually one of the most powerful confirmation cards. It's saying that the old timeline is completely done. You're shifting into a new reality where different rules apply, where your old limitations don't exist, where you're free to become who you're actually meant to be. This is the card of complete transformation. The caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly by improving itself. It completely dissolves in the cocoon and reforms as something entirely new. That's what's happening for you now. All right, let's see what comes next. The sixth card is the High Priestess. Oh, Gemini, this is such a powerful card for you right now. After the death and endings of the Ten of Swords, the High Priestess appears as the keeper of mysteries and the guardian of your intuition. This card is coming through to tell you that as your destiny accelerates, you're being initiated into deeper levels of spiritual awareness and inner knowing. The High Priestess represents the part of you that knows beyond logic, beyond proof, beyond what can be seen or measured. For Gemini, who rules communication and the mental realm, the High Priestess is teaching you about the wisdom that lives in silence. Not everything needs to be spoken, analyzed, or explained. There's a whole universe of knowing that exists beneath the surface of words. The High Priestess is your invitation to develop your intuitive abilities and to trust the subtle guidance that comes through feelings, dreams, synchronicities, and that quiet inner voice that whispers truth when you're still enough to hear it. I'm seeing that this card relates directly to your destiny acceleration because the next level you're moving into requires different navigation tools. You can't logic your way to everything that's coming. You can't plan or strategize your way through every door. Some of what's ahead requires you to feel your way forward, to trust your gut, to follow the breadcrumbs of intuition even when they don't make rational sense. The High Priestess is saying that your intuition is getting stronger and clearer right now. You might be noticing that you just know things without knowing how you know them. That's your inner High Priestess awakening. There's also a message here about secrets and hidden knowledge. The High Priestess sits between two pillars, guarding the veil between the seen and unseen worlds. She knows what's behind the curtain, and she's showing up in your reading to tell you that you're gaining access to information and insights that aren't available to everyone. This could mean you're developing psychic abilities, or it could simply mean you're becoming incredibly perceptive about energy, intentions, and underlying patterns. Trust what you pick up even if you can't prove it. Your intuitive hits are getting more accurate. The High Priestess is also connected to the moon and to feminine receptive energy. For Gemini, who has such active masculine energy with all that doing and communicating and analyzing, this card is teaching you about the power of receptivity. Not everything requires your action. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is be still, be open, and allow guidance to come to you. Your destiny is accelerating not just through your efforts, but through divine timing and cosmic orchestration. The High Priestess asks you to trust the unseen forces that are working on your behalf. I'm also picking up that this card relates to your inner world and your relationship with yourself. The High Priestess is deeply introspective. She spends time in her own company, exploring the depths of her psyche and soul. She's not afraid of silence or solitude. For you right now, there's an invitation to go inward, to spend time alone in reflection and meditation, to journal, to dream, to explore your own inner landscape. The answers you're seeking aren't out there. They're within you. The High Priestess is the part of you that already knows your path, your purpose, your truth. You just need to get quiet enough to hear her. There's something else coming through with this card. The High Priestess can indicate a teacher or mentor figure who appears in your life, someone who embodies this wise, intuitive energy and who helps you develop your own gifts. Pay attention to who crosses your path, especially women or feminine energy beings who seem to see right through you in the best way. These could be important guides for this next phase of your journey. Or you might find yourself stepping into the role of high priestess for others, becoming the wise counselor or intuitive guide that people seek out. Moving to the 7th card now. Let me pull, and oh, this is fascinating. We have the 10 of Wands. Gemini, this card is coming through with a really important message about the burdens you've been carrying and how they're connected to your destiny acceleration. The 10 of Wands shows a figure carrying a heavy bundle of 10 wands, struggling under the weight, often with their destination visible in the background. This card represents overwhelm, excessive responsibility, and the feeling of having too much on your plate. Now you might wonder why this card appears in a reading about your destiny accelerating. Here's what I'm seeing. The universe is bringing this to your attention because you cannot accelerate into your destiny while carrying all this unnecessary weight. The 10 of Wands is revealing that you've been holding yourself back by taking on too much, by trying to do everything yourself, by carrying responsibilities that aren't actually yours to carry. Your destiny acceleration requires you to put some of these burdens down. For Gemini, this is especially relevant because you're so capable and multi-talented that you tend to say yes to everything. You can juggle multiple projects, maintain numerous relationships, pursue several interests simultaneously. But the 10 of Wands is saying that just because you can doesn't mean you should. There's a difference between being busy and being purposeful. Some of what you're carrying is dead weight that needs to be released so you have energy and space for what actually matters. I'm seeing that this card is asking you to get really honest about what's on your plate right now. What commitments are you honoring out of obligation rather than genuine desire? What projects are you continuing just because you started them, even though they no longer align with where you're heading? What responsibilities have you taken on that actually belong to someone else? The 10 of Wands is permission to reassess everything and to put down what isn't serving your highest path. This might feel uncomfortable or even guilty at first, but it's necessary. There's also a message here about delegation and asking for help. The figure in the 10 of Wands is struggling alone, but they don't have to be. Your destiny acceleration includes learning that you don't have to do everything yourself. In fact, part of stepping into your Queen of Wands leadership energy means knowing when to delegate, when to collaborate, when to ask for support. The people in your life want to help you. Let them. You're not meant to carry all this alone. What I find really interesting is how this card follows the High Priestess. The High Priestess taught you about receptivity and divine timing, and now the 10 of Wands is showing you what happens when you're not receptive. When you're trying to force and control everything through sheer effort. It's exhausting. The 10 of Wands is the universe saying that there's an easier way. When you align with your truth and follow your intuition, things flow more naturally. You don't have to work so hard. Some of what you're carrying is resistance to that flow. I'm also picking up that the 10 of Wands relates specifically to mental burdens for you. Gemini rules the mind, and you can carry so much mental weight. Worries about the future, replaying the past, trying to figure everything out, overanalyzing every decision. That's heavy and it slows you down. Part of releasing the 10 of Wands burden is learning to quiet your mind, to not carry every thought to its logical conclusion, to give your brain a rest. Your destiny can accelerate when you're not mentally exhausted from overthinking everything. The positive aspect of the 10 of Wands is that it shows you're close to your destination. The figure in the card is nearly home. They've come so far, but they need to drop the weight to actually cross the threshold. That's where you are now. You've done so much work. You've come so far, and you're right there at the edge of major breakthroughs. But you have to release what's weighing you down to actually step into that new reality. The 10 of Wands is both validation of how much you've accomplished and a loving nudge to let go of what you no longer need to carry. Let's see what the 8th card reveals. I'm pulling, and it's the 2 of Swords. Okay, Gemini, this card is bringing really important clarity about a decision or choice point that's part of your destiny acceleration. The 2 of Swords traditionally shows a blindfolded figure holding 2 swords crossed over their chest, often sitting by water under a crescent moon. This card represents a stalemate, a decision that needs to be made, a situation where you're stuck between 2 options and unable to see clearly which way to go. Here's what's coming through. Your destiny is trying to accelerate, but there's a choice you've been avoiding or a decision you've been putting off. The 2 of Swords represents that state of deliberate blindness where you're refusing to look at something because once you see it clearly, you'll have to act. For Gemini, who can see multiple perspectives on everything, This card often appears when you're so aware of both sides of a situation that you've talked yourself into paralysis. You can argue for either option equally well, so you end up choosing neither and staying stuck. But the universe is saying that this decision point is actually a gateway. The reason your destiny is accelerating is partly because you're being pushed to make a choice that will define your path forward. The Two of Swords is not about avoiding the decision forever. It's about taking the time you need to get clear before choosing, and then having the courage to remove the blindfold and act decisively. What decision have you been sitting on? What choice are you pretending isn't actually a choice? The time for fence sitting is ending. I'm seeing that this card connects to the earlier themes in your reading. The Queen of Wands asks you to step into your power. The High Priestess asks you to trust your intuition. The Two of Swords is the test. Can you trust yourself enough to make a clear choice and commit to it? Can you use your inner knowing to see through the confusion? Your destiny acceleration depends on your willingness to choose a direction and move forward with it. Even if you can't see the entire path from where you're standing, there's also an element of mental peace that the Two of Swords is addressing. The crossed swords over the figure's chest suggest a defended heart, a protective stance. Maybe you've been in decision paralysis because you're afraid of making the wrong choice and getting hurt. Maybe you're protecting yourself from potential disappointment or failure. But the Two of Swords is gently pointing out that staying stuck is a choice, and it's probably the most painful one. Not deciding is its own kind of suffering. The relief, the peace, the forward movement you crave all live on the other side of making a clear decision. For your reading specifically, I'm getting that this decision relates to committing to a path or direction that reflects your authentic self versus what others expect of you. The Two of Swords asks, are you going to choose what looks safe and acceptable, or are you going to choose what your soul is calling you toward? Your destiny acceleration requires you to choose soul over safety, truth over comfort, alignment over approval. That's the real decision underneath whatever surface choice you're facing. The message from the universe is that you actually already know what to choose. Deep down, beneath all the mental back and forth, there's a clear knowing. The High Priestess already whispered the answer. Your intuition has been guiding you all along. The Two of Swords is just asking you to trust that knowing enough to act on it. Remove the blindfold. Look at the situation honestly. Feel into what's true for you. And then make your choice with confidence, knowing that even if it's scary, it's right. Now for the 9th card. I'm drawing and it's the Five of Swords. Gemini, this is an important card that's addressing conflict and the cost of certain victories. The Five of Swords traditionally shows a figure holding 3 swords while 2 other figures walk away, appearing defeated. There are 2 more swords on the ground. This card often represents conflict, competition, winning at all costs, or victories that feel hollow because of what was sacrificed to achieve them. In the context of your destiny acceleration reading, the Five of Swords is bringing awareness to how you engage with conflict and competition. Here's what I'm picking up. As you step into your Queen of Wands power and your destiny accelerates, you might find yourself in situations where you have to assert yourself, defend your position, or compete for what's yours. The Five of Swords is teaching you about the difference between healthy assertion and destructive conflict. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every argument needs to be won. Some victories come at too high a cost. For Gemini specifically, who rules communication, this card can indicate a tendency to win arguments through clever words or superior logic, but at the expense of the relationship or connection. You might technically be right, but is being right worth losing the love, trust, or respect? The Five of Swords asks you to examine your motives in conflicts. Are you fighting for what truly matters, or are you fighting to prove something? Are you defending your truth, or are you defending your ego? I'm also seeing that this card relates to past conflicts or competitive situations that left a bad taste. Maybe there were times when you won, but it felt empty. Maybe there were situations where you compromised your integrity to come out on top. Maybe there were conflicts where everyone lost. The Five of Swords is coming through now as part of your healing and evolution. Your destiny cannot fully accelerate while you're carrying the weight of these Pyrrhic victories or unresolved conflicts. There's forgiveness work to be done, either of yourself or others. There's another layer to this card that's really important. The Five of Swords can also represent being on the receiving end of conflict, feeling defeated or betrayed, dealing with difficult people or competitive energy directed at you. As your light gets brighter and your destiny accelerates, you might trigger others. You might find that success brings out jealousy in people you thought were friends. The Five of Swords is preparing you for this reality. Not everyone will celebrate your wins. Some people will try to tear you down. The lesson is not to dim your light to make them comfortable, but to stay in your integrity and not stoop to their level of engagement. The message from the universe through the Five of Swords is about choosing your battles wisely and walking away from conflicts that don't serve your highest good. As your destiny accelerates, your energy becomes more valuable. You can't afford to waste it on petty arguments, toxic competitions, or trying to prove yourself to people who are determined to misunderstand you. The Five of Swords is teaching you about strategic retreat, about knowing when to walk away with your dignity and energy intact, even if it means letting others think they've won. Your real victory is staying aligned with your truth and continuing to move toward your goals regardless of the noise around you. Finally, let's look at the 10th and final card. I'm pulling, and it's the Page of Cups. Oh, Gemini, this is such a beautiful card to end your reading. After all the Swords' energy and the intensity of transformation, the Page of Cups arrives with such sweet, tender, hopeful energy. This card represents new emotional beginnings, creative inspiration, intuitive messages, and the birth of something beautiful and meaningful. The Page of Cups shows a young figure holding a cup with a fish emerging from it, symbolizing messages from the subconscious and the realm of emotions. Here's what this means for your destiny acceleration. The Page of Cups is coming through to tell you that as everything we've discussed unfolds, as you step into your power, make your choices, release your burdens, and navigate challenges, you're also opening yourself to new levels of emotional depth and creative expression. This card represents the childlike wonder and openness that you're reclaiming. After all the heavy transformation, you get to play again. You get to create again. You get to feel joy and excitement and curiosity again. For Gemini, who can sometimes live primarily in the mental realm, the Page of Cups is such a gift. This card is teaching you that your destiny acceleration includes developing your emotional intelligence and creative gifts. You're being invited to express yourself through art, writing, music, or any form of creative channel that allows your soul to speak. The Page of Cups says you have something beautiful to share with the world, something that comes from your heart rather than just your head. Don't hold back. Let it flow. I'm also seeing that the Page of Cups represents new beginnings in love and relationships. This could be romantic love, but it could also be falling in love with life again, with yourself, with your path. There's this quality of fresh starts and open-hearted possibility that the Page of Cups brings. After all the endings and releases we saw in earlier cards, this is the new beginning. This is what emerges when you've cleared the space. Something tender and precious and full of potential is being born in your life right now. Protect it. Nurture it. Give it room to grow. The Page of Cups is also deeply intuitive and often brings messages from the spiritual realm. Those intuitive hits we talked about with the High Priestess, the Page of Cups is their messenger. Pay attention to your dreams right now. Notice synchronicities. Be open to signs and symbols. The universe is communicating with you, and the Page of Cups is helping you receive and interpret those messages. Your sensitivity is heightening, and this is a beautiful thing. You're becoming more attuned to the subtle realms, to energy, to the unspoken truths that live beneath surface reality. There's something really hopeful and optimistic about the Page of Cups energy. After everything you've been through, after all the transformation and challenge, this card is the universe's promise that beauty is coming. Joy is coming. Magic is coming. New adventures are beginning. The Page of Cups asks you to stay open and receptive, to maintain a sense of wonder, to believe in possibilities even when you can't yet see how they'll manifest. Your destiny is accelerating towards something wonderful, and the Page of Cups is the first glimpse of it. For your reading about destiny acceleration, the Page of Cups is perfect because pages represent the beginning of a journey. You're at the start of something amazing. Everything we've discussed in this reading, all the cards we've explored, they're preparing you for this new chapter. The Queen of Wands power, the Three of Cups community, the release of fears and burdens, the intuitive development, the clear choices. All of it is setting the stage for what the Page of Cups represents. A beautiful new beginning that's authentically yours and aligned with your soul's purpose. Gemini, as I sit here with all these cards laid out in front of me, I'm honestly feeling emotional about the journey you're on. Your destiny isn't just accelerating. It's transforming. You're not becoming a better version of your old self. You're becoming someone entirely new. The universe has been orchestrating this for so long, preparing you, testing you, teaching you, and now all the pieces are coming together. Everything you've been through has brought you to this threshold moment. And the energy says you're ready. You might not feel ready, but you are. The Queen of Wands within you knows. The High Priestess within you knows. And the Page of Cups is excited to begin this next adventure with you. If you felt like things have been slow or stuck, I need you to understand that was the preparation phase. The universe was working behind the scenes, moving pieces into place, clearing obstacles you couldn't even see, arranging connections and opportunities that had to be perfectly timed. Now the acceleration begins. Things are going to start moving faster. Opportunities will appear. Doors will open. People will show up. And it might feel intense, but remember that you've been prepared for this. Everything you need is already within you. Trust yourself. Trust your intuition. Trust the journey. Your destiny is accelerating and it's going to be incredible.